Welcome to the hidden world of coral reefs, where biology defies expectations and every splash hides a secret. Fact 1: Coral colonies are actually bustling cities of tiny animals called polyps, each building limestone homes that become the massive structures we call reefs, creating towering underwater skyscrapers over centuries. Fact 2: These reefs host more than a quarter of all marine species. Imagine a single reef supporting a quarter of ocean life, a biodiversity hotspot rivaling any rainforest. Fact 3: Under stress, corals can bleach like a chameleon, expelling symbiotic algae and turning ghostly white, a vivid warning signal of climate change and ocean warming. Fact 4: Reef fish possess a built-in GPS. They navigate using Earth's magnetic field and the reef's unique chemical cues, allowing them to find food, mates, and shelter with astonishing precision. Fact 5: Surprisingly, reef ecosystems produce their own oxygen, enough to sustain nearby islands, acting like underwater forests that breathe life into coastal communities. As we dive deeper, we'll uncover how these fragile marvels adapt, communicate, and fight for survival against rising seas, pollution, and bleaching events. But that's just the beginning. In Part 2, we go deeper. Welcome back, scholars of the sea. In Part 2, we dive beneath the surface to decode the biology that makes coral reefs the planet's most productive marine habitats. First, let's travel back in time. While reefs have existed since the Ordovician, the true architects of today's vibrant structures, scleractinian corals, appeared in the Triassic, flourishing into massive carbonate platforms during the Jurassic. These ancient reefs acted as living skyscrapers, providing shelter for early fish, ammonites, and the ancestors of modern sea turtles. Their fossilized remnants, discovered in limestone cliffs across Europe and the Middle East, reveal growth rings like tree trunks, chronicling sea level changes and climatic shifts over millions of years. Now, moving from history to the heart of the reef, its symbiotic machinery. Every coral polyp is a microhabitat for dinoflagellate algae of the family Symbiodiniaceae. Through photosynthesis, these algae convert sunlight into glucose, supplying up to 95% of the coral's metabolic needs. In return, the coral provides the algae with protected space, carbon dioxide, and essential nitrogenous waste. This partnership is a textbook example of mutualism, but it's also a finely tuned chemical dance. The algae's pigment suite, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and paradenon optimizes light absorption across the blue-green spectrum that penetrates tropical waters. Simultaneously, bacterial consortia on the reef's surface recycle excreted ammonia into usable nitrate, completing a nutrient loop that sustains not only corals but also sponges, macroalgae, and the myriad fish that depend on them. Understanding this mechanism illuminates why reefs are hotspots of biodiversity. A single square meter of healthy reef can host over 1,000 species, from cryptic crustaceans to apex predators. This diversity fuels global fisheries, supports coastal economies, and underpins cultural traditions ranging from Polynesian navigation to Caribbean tourism. Yet the very processes that empower reefs also render them vulnerable. When ocean temperatures climb just 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above the long-term average, the delicate algae-coral partnership fractures. The algae are expelled, leaving the coral pale, bleached, and starving. Prolonged bleaching can lead to widespread mortality, as witnessed during the 1998 El Niño event, which devastated the Great Barrier Reef and triggered a cascade of ecological loss. Compounding these stressors is ocean acidification. Increased atmospheric CO2 lowers seawater pH, reducing the availability of carbonate ions that corals need to build their calcium carbonate skeletons. Experiments show that a 0.2 unit pH drop can slow reef growth by up to 40%, jeopardizing the reef's capacity to keep pace with sea level rise. Human activities, overfishing, coastal development, and plastic pollution further erode reef resilience by disrupting food webs and introducing pathogens. The solution lies in integrated conservation. Establishing marine protected areas that restrict extractive activities has demonstrated recovery in several Pacific islands, where coral cover rebounded within 5 years of protection. Simultaneously, global carbon reduction commitments are essential to curb temperature spikes and acidification. Community-led reef restoration projects, employing coral gardening and assisted evolution techniques, offer hope for bolstering genetic diversity and stress tolerance. By coupling scientific insight with policy and local stewardship, we can safeguard the living libraries of the sea for future generations. In Part 3, we uncover what mainstream sources won't tell you. Imagine drifting over a sapphire sea, the water shimmering like polished glass. The camera glides, pulling you deeper into a world most people never see until now. Beneath the surface, a secret lies, whispering the fate of our planet. First, a puzzle that has confounded divers for years: why are the once bright reefs turning a muted gray? Satellite scanners have uncovered a silent thief, microscopic algae that cloaks dying coral in a veil of green, masking the loss of vibrant pigments. The colors you admire in travel brochures are a clever illusion, a camouflage that hides a staggering 30% decline in reef health over just 10 short years. As the footage fades, the question deepens: what is pulling the rug from beneath these ecosystems? But the answer is only the beginning. Hidden in the cracks of the reef lies a tiny predator, the crown-of-thorns starfish. Scientists once believed its numbers were natural, yet recent studies reveal an explosive surge, 10 times the historic average. What fuels this boom? A clandestine diet: the starfish feeds on coral mucus, a nutrient-rich fluid that corals produce to protect themselves. By siphoning this lifeblood, the starfish silently starves the reef, accelerating its decay faster than any storm could. The revelation hits like a sudden drop in a suspense film. You realize the danger was lurking in plain sight, invisible to the naked eye. Now, brace yourself for a twist that reaches far beyond the ocean floor. The oceans are absorbing more carbon dioxide than ever before, not merely warming the water but chemically reshaping it. The excess CO2 alters the water's carbonate balance, stripping away the very minerals corals need to build their skeletons. This process, known as ocean acidification, slows calcification to a crawl, turning thriving gardens into brittle, ghostly structures. The reef, once a bustling metropolis of life, becomes a skeletal graveyard, its future dictated by a hidden shift in chemistry that no one can see without sophisticated instruments. Each layer of mystery peels back to reveal a deeper, more unsettling truth. The reef's decline is not a single event but a cascade of hidden forces: camouflaged algae, a voracious starfish, and a silent chemical war. As the story unfolds, the urgency mounts. The images you thought were beautiful are now warning signs, and the reef's silence becomes a deafening alarm. The journey doesn't end here. In the next chapter, we will expose the final piece of this puzzle, one that will change the way you view every oceanic sunrise, every coastal breeze, and every photograph of turquoise water. The truth is coming, and it will redefine our relationship with the planet's most diverse habitats. Stay tuned, because the revelation that follows will challenge everything you believe about marine conservation and spark a movement you won't want to miss. The clock is ticking, and the reef's fate hangs in the balance of our actions today. Now that you know the truth, Part 4 will change how you see this forever. Welcome back to the final installment of our Coral Reef series, where we unpack the deepest layers of reef biology in a single, definitive narrative. We begin with origins, tracing reef formation from microbial mats in Cambrian seas to the explosion of scleractinian corals after the Permian extinction. Those ancient architects set the stage for the biodiverse structures that now cradle a quarter of marine life. Moving forward, we explore the mechanisms that keep reefs alive. The partnership between coral polyps and zooxanthellae algae converts sunlight into the carbon needed for calcification, generating limestone at rates that can exceed 10 centimeters a year. Nutrient cycling, herbivorous fish grazing, and the subtle work of bioerosion create a self-regulating system that balances pH, oxygen, and habitat complexity. Real-world examples illustrate how theory meets reality. The Great Barrier Reef's northern reefs have shown remarkable recovery after bleaching by recruiting heat-tolerant genotypes, while the Caribbean's Mesoamerican barrier has suffered a 60% decline due to overfishing and macroalgal dominance. In contrast, the Maldives atolls demonstrate the power of marine protected areas, achieving threefold increases in fish biomass within 10 years. The conversation now pivots to future outlooks and expert debates. Proponents of assisted evolution argue that breeding heat-resilient corals offers a rapid response to climate change, yet critics warn of unintended genetic consequences. Parallel to scientific discourse, economists are finally quantifying reef services, coastal defense, tourism revenue, and fisheries, embedding them into national policy. This convergence of climate-smart zoning, emission reductions, and community stewardship forms the roadmap to preservation. In closing, remember that reefs are not isolated wonders, they are dynamic, interconnected hubs whose health reflects the planet's overall well-being. If this series gave you value, subscribe, more deep dives coming every week.